there, welcome to Magnetic Mama, the podcast where we parent with nervous system wisdom, soul-led grit, and zero shame. I'm Steph, a holistic nurse, writer, and a mum who is keeping it real in the chaos. I'm giving you permission to raise resilient kids without losing yourself, because when you thrive, your kids can too. So let's get into the messy middle and find our magic.
Hey there, this is Magnetic Mama, Steph, coming to you from the Swiss Alps in St. Moritz. Can you believe it? So I'm sitting here in our Airbnb. Behind me are the beautiful Swiss mountain Alps that you might be able to see some speckle of lights of the houses and of the village behind me. It is absolutely beautiful here. The mountains feel so close, but not like looming, just present. They're huge. They are ginormous. Biggest mountains I've ever seen. And I've seen a few big mountains these days in my lifetime. And what keeps landing for me is this. This isn't my first time here. 16 years ago, I came to Switzerland with my now hubby, and it was just the two of us. We were young, we were free, life was fun. I think we might have had a house mortgage, but nothing was set in stone. We were still, in that phase of life is good and easy. So Switzerland is where he proposed to me, actually, and St. Moritz is where he rang my dad to ask for permission. So now we're here with our kids, and what it feels like is that we are sharing something like a time in our life that was pretty cool. We felt good about being at the beginning of our careers and launching into this deeper relationship, and now bringing the kids back and sharing that with them it's a big deal, I guess, in a way, but it's also been really nice to be able to do that. So this trip isn't just about travel, it's a bit of a return. And before we left Australia, I did a bit of a pause. I cleansed my energy to kind of make sure when we were traveling to these new countries and different places, because we also did a stop in Abu Dhabi, which I've never been before. And I do this every time before we travel. It's like grounding and cleansing and kind of offering energetically some gratitude, and to let the space know that we're coming with peace and harmony, that we're not coming to take anything or be destructive. We're there to explore and connect and absorb the energy of the space. So I did a little home ceremony before we left to kind of create this space for a good trip. And so far, so good, because travel isn't just about movement across land, it's also movement across time. And Aruna said he wanted to come back here because the memories were good ones, and because this place held the energy of who we were, young, open, and adventurous. We wanted to tap back into that energy in this part of our life and share that with our kids, and not to relive what was, but to weave it all in to move forward and to really share something special with our kids. So we are traveling with a tween and teen, and if you're parenting in this phase, you'll know something quietly shifts here, and it's a different type of travel, because they don't need you in the same way, right? But they still need me, us. And traveling at this age isn't about entertaining them, really. It's more about witnessing them and letting them see who we were and are, and also helping them understand where their story began, actually. So this trip has been about saying to them, this is a part of you too. Now, this is not type of postcard travel, although I have been trying to capture some beautiful images, but my camera's not quite doing it justice, and my photography is not quite doing it justice either. But this for us is real, like it's family travel. And family travel is kind of what I'm going to be talking about in this podcast, because when you start handing over the responsibility of suitcases and belongings, it is a whole new world. So there's suitcases everywhere, clothes piled up by a random door. Someone's always hungry or tired, and the jet lag, the phones, the iPads. I thought this was going to be a no technology expedition, but it wasn't. And it hasn't. So there's lots of dancing and looking at themselves in the mirror. That's Charlotte in the background, plugging in her iPad and then having a dance in the mirror, like a TikTok style, just chiming in. A part of the podcast. We've been going to bed, like the jet lag has been nuts. We have been going to bed by maybe 7 at the latest and getting up super early. But anyway, back to what I was saying, because when kids are exhausted, disorientated, oh my God, so disoriented and far from home, I guess the phones for them are a bit of a regulation tool. So that's maybe their space of tuning in to what's happening at home, or also, you know, watching their shows. We're into Stranger Things and one's into mermaids, would you believe? So it's just something that helps at times when it's needed to calm and center, but then to cut it off when we want to go do stuff so that we can put them away and go explore this beautiful country that we've come to. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey. It's not been easy, but trying not to make phones the enemy, but rather this trip with the phones. And there's a big thing about phones and teenagers in Australia, especially at our school at the moment, group chats. It's all going nuts. I have been working on a little program to hopefully help parents around managing phones and the energetics behind it rather than just the do's and the don'ts sort of thing. So stay tuned for that. But for me, it's about balance and choosing connection over what's right, which doesn't sound, but it's a totally different conversation. But it's one that's kind of been floating up and around while we've been traveling. And it is going to be something that we will have to continue battling and talking about and conversing with. So trying not to make it the enemy and trying to really guide in a way that empowers using the phone connection, communication as a tool. So having those conversations constantly, even while we're traveling, is what we've been doing quite a bit. So the jet lag has been real. So we've been here now for 3 days in St. Moritz, the beautiful St. Moritz. This is where Aruna's called my dad and asked for permission. So when we came the first time, I think we only stayed one night and we didn't really get to explore the little beautiful villages. Also, we weren't able to snowboard or ski. We actually taught ourselves to snowboard and ski back in 2013 in Japan. I was pregnant with Ruby and we went on a snow trip and with our friends, and they taught us how to snowboard. So since then, Aruna and I have had the snow bug, and obviously prior to moving to Melbourne, we used to live in Darwin. So when it was super hot in the wet season, we would choose super cold places to get away, and we would spend our time learning to snowboard and explore different areas of mountains. So that has continued. And this time when we arrived at St. Moritz, we spent 2 full days up in the mountains on Corbiglia exploring around. And let me tell you, it is magnificent, like unreal mountains. They are so huge and so powerful and so beautiful. It's just like, and like snowboarding's kind of just an excuse to go up the mountains, and because you get the chairlifts and you get to go right to the top and you get these glorious views. If you check out any of my Instagram or Facebook, there's some hopefully reasonably cool pictures of some cool mountain pics that just capture these majestic giants of the earth. And their photos, like I said, my photos don't do it justice, but So we have been going hard, and let me tell you, their blue runs are their easiest runs, and they are still hard for me. And not that I'm a pro snowboarder, and when I look at all the little kids here in Switzerland who are snowboarding instructor said, like, some of the kids here spend 100 days on their skis every year. Like, phenomenal. Like, they're 5 and have been skiing since they were 2, probably, like, phenomenal skills. So, had to adjust my expectations and, to be real about what I can and can't do as a 45-year-old woman who's only been snowboarding for 11 years, and probably of those 11 years I may have done 50 days. So keeping my expectations low, even at the hiring the equipment at the snowboarding place, these beautiful Swiss guys. I think they're Swiss. They might be Italian. A lot of Italian people here. The girl's ski instructor was Argentinian, so beautifully multicultural people working around, and they were like, "Oh, our snowboard equipment's pretty basic." And it's like, Solomon, their basic is pretty medium okay. So I was like, I think we'll be right, thanks. We can manage, we'll make it work. So we've been snowboarding on Solomon's, which is pretty cool if you ask me. But according to them, it's basic. And, and this is so cute because they're so fussy. Like, conditions aren't great. And we're like, oh my God, it's amazing. Because, they see it every day, and I guess they know the weather patterns much better than us. Like, we booked our second day thinking, yay, we've got our second day with a ski instructor, because she could only do that day, and the girls loved her from the day before. So we went, and it was super cloudy up in the mountains. Like, it was so cloudy, and like visibility was nearly zero, and it felt quite dangerous because I certainly had not done anything like that before. So I'm hoping tomorrow, we had a rest day today, I'm hoping tomorrow when we go, it's going to be mint, because today was beautiful. Our rest day, we spent meandering through the beautiful village and exploring all the designer shops, which we only window shopped. But we ice skated, we ate pizza, and I had gnocchi. And so it was cool just to rest. But I guess as a result of that, and because it's dark, we've just been going to bed so early, like 6 p.m., 7 p.m. And because the sun sets about 4:45 here, it just feels like it's okay to go to bed quite early, because the darkness kind of invites this surrender. Early nights, early mornings, and the weirdest, most vivid dreams. I feel like it's a bit like jet lag. But it's not, because we've kind of been here for a while. We had a stop in Abu Dhabi, so we sort of like should be catching up. But it's just so physically demanding, these hills. Like I said, the blue runs are intense. And so our bodies are just renegotiating time. And instead of fighting it, we just leaned in. And sometimes the body knows before the mind, and it just catches up. Our apartment is very Swiss. It feels very traditional with wood furniture. It's very clean, organized, super intentional, and the beds are amazing. So that kind of sleep, it's kind of like the sleep that you get feels like it's doing something to yourselves. And after long days on the mountains, that rest is super important. It's not indulgent, it's integration. So each morning we've been waking up pretty early, cooking our breakfast, having coffee, and we walk to the gondola and collect our gear. And that walk has become a bit of a ritual. The girls hate it, but I love it. It's like a warm-up, gets you ready, your body's, I've been stretching, breathing, and I know people are going to think this weird, but I've been singing to the mountains and just trying to tune in to the energy here, not just where we are, but who we're here with, like tuning in not just to where we are, but to who we were here 16 years ago. So we spent 2 days up Corviglia Mountain, as I said, and the girls had the most beautiful instructor. She was from Argentina and she had the most vivacious energy. She's like chatty and super energetic, and the girls loved her. We only booked her for one day, but they loved her so much we were like, oh, let's do another day, which was lucky because visibility was so low that if we hadn't had her, I think it would have absolutely been a disaster. She was amazing because she just built up the confidence in the girls. And when we had lunch with her, she told us her stories of her life here and about her family. And it's quite interesting because we had a snowboarding instructor from Italy who worked in Australia. He was super cool too. We hope to follow him to Falls Creek and do some snowboarding in Falls Creek, which we haven't done yet. And, listening to their lives is quite remarkable. They sort of move between the seasons and countries, and they meet all sorts of people from ultra wealthy to the quietly ordinary, and they're constantly adapting. The first day, actually, she pulled us aside and praised our girls, and she said they were kind, they were fun, and she really enjoyed working with them. And something about that softened in me because sometimes it takes a stranger in a foreign place to reflect back the quiet work that we've been doing for years. And in that moment, Aruna and I thought, this is kind of why we came back. It's like St. Moritz is so fascinating, and the snow culture and the mountains, there's something really beautiful here, and it's been really special to be able to share that with the girls, whether they fully absorb and appreciate that now, but hopefully building those memories and capturing those moments that we'll talk about forever in our lifetimes and laugh about. There's been a few funny moments here on the trip that hopefully we can look back and continue to laugh throughout our lives, and just allowing that to be a connection thread that we bring up in our conversations and, tighten our bonds. So the mountain culture and the wealth and the high-end fashion here, like Prada sponsors the chairlift. So on this mountain in Corviglia, and then on another mountain, which I can't remember the name of, Gucci sponsors the chairlift. So this place is wealthy, and there's high-end fashion. Like the village we were in today has all the designer label big shops, and it is gorgeous. I don't buy those things, but I love to look at them and be inspired by them. So where the high-end fashion sits right alongside the ancient peaks, it's a real fascinating combination. And there's a big lake here in St. Moritz that they set up this kind of festival, which is, the bee's knees mecca of snow festivals, of, designer headwear and faux fur. I hope they're faux. I'm assuming they're faux. Fur coats and boots and gloves and accessories, and it's extravagant. It's extravagant. It's super extravagant. So that has been an interesting journey navigating expectations, especially with the kids, while we're surrounded by this opulence. Mind you, our kids are dressing like the bogans from Australia, and if they could, they would wear their tracky pants and their Ugg boots down the main street, which actually probably would fit and could start a trend, but it's definitely not designer. But I guess what's been an interesting question is, how do you enjoy that beauty without comparison, as I just did? And how do we appreciate the luxury without losing that humility? Because for me, it's all about the mountains and the lake and the culture and absorbing that, beautiful energy of place, particularly, as I said, the mountains, because the mountains, when you listen, answer quietly. They don't actually care about status. And I think they're asking for reverence, not performance. So that has been a really fascinating space to navigate. And we've been talking about it a lot. I kind of just want to segue a bit from the opulence of St. Moritz and the glamour to something a lot less glamorous and something that I think less talked about when traveling. And I don't know about you, but as other mums or dads, but for me, I spend a lot of my time in the laundry and sifting through people's dirty clothes. And when you travel and you don't have a laundry, oh my God. So we rented this place that had listed that it had a laundry, and other places we've stayed on the mountains, they've had in-house, in apartment little sliding doors where you can wash and dry your clothes. So we thought the same for this, but this one doesn't. No. So we've been traveling for a week and I have not been able to wash my clothes. So I thought I had it all sorted. I had some coins that the beautiful Argentinian ski instructor gave me, and we've had trouble buying the right washing powder because we can't read the Swiss German instructions. So I bought, what I thought were the environmentally friendly paper waves to wash my clothes because I thought I was going to chuck them into the washing machine and do what I do in Australia. But no, I bought the wrong thing. I don't know what I bought. Don't know what it does, but it had pictures of put in the wash machine with clothes, so I thought I'd bought the right thing. Anyway, the apartment here doesn't have a in-house laundry, so I had to navigate myself down to the basement where the laundry has 2 washing machines for the whole building, so both of them are operating. Then I couldn't even read the instructions in English. Like I couldn't understand what they were trying to say in English about the 4 francs, but it only cost, I've got no idea. Anyway, I didn't have 4 francs. I had 3 francs, and then I put 1 in the machine, and now I have 2, and I don't have any wash clothes. So I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I resorted to the bathtub and have kind of washed these using these non-soap things, which I don't think worked, in the bathtub. And now we're drip drying in the apartment. Laundry is a big part of travel. And at some point on every family holiday, you stop counting ski days and start counting underwear. And we are down to our last few, and if I don't find it, well, no, hopefully by tomorrow, bathroom drying, laundry will at least have a clean pair of knickers. So yes, this is an example of resilience and adaptation while traveling. You obviously don't have your home comforts, and you've just got to find a way to make it work. And this washing scenario was one of them. Mind you, I was not very cool, calm and collected because it is a pain in the ass to wash things by hand. And I know that's very privileged of me to say that, but I have become accustomed to washing everything in my washing machine, and I do my own washing, but I hate washing things by hand. So yeah, that's been a drama. But I guess that again is a part of the travel scenario, and it's definitely not perfect. But being here now with our kids feels like we're closing a loop. 16 years ago, this place held possibility, and now it kind of holds perspective. We didn't come back to relive our youth, we came back to honour it and to show our kids where love grew and where choices were made, where a family story began. This trip isn't over. We've still got some other places to go where Aruna actually proposed to me, and we're going to take the girls on the train where he was going to propose, but we had an argument. So he delayed the process. Anyway, we're taking the kids on that journey. If this episode has stirred anything in you and given you hope for family travel in the future and allowing yourself to go back to places with fresh eyes and fresh intentions, that it is totally possible if you want it to be. And traveling with teens and tweens is a journey. And they're watching you and you're watching them, and it's a full exchange. It's no longer, you know, I'm not carrying all their stuff and doing all the stuff for them. They've got their own suitcases and they're responsible for their own stuff. And, you know, it's been an interesting, expansive experience, which I hope will give them life skills and tools to help them flourish in the future. So I always think I've always loved traveling. I've always loved connecting with cultures and environments and different places, and hopefully learning and expanding my consciousness and growth, hopefully leaving a positive trail behind wherever I go. And hopefully by doing this with my kids and giving them this experience, that they can fall on these memories, not only to expand their consciousness, but also understand who we are as just humans. And yes, we're their parents, but we're also humans, and we have a story, and they will have their story too. So it's been a really beautiful journey so far, and I feel deeply grateful to be here in St. Moritz. And I hope you got a bit of a giggle out of some of what I've said today, and you share with me some of your stories of traveling with kids. It's not always easy as it looks. It's not those Instagram posts that I have been posting that look all like, yay, beautiful. The background is, you know, lots of back and forth and hoo-ha in between. So, but that's all a part of the process. So yeah, interesting to go back to different parts of yourself and different versions of yourself, but merge them into where you are at right now. So thank you for being here, and thank you for listening, and hope that you find your space and joy with your kids and build relationships that feel healthy and deeply connected, and give them the strength and confidence to be the best versions of themselves, as I hope for you. So this is Steph, Magnetic Mama, signing off from St. Moritz, and I will see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Magnetic Mama. Remember, your calm is contagious. Breathe deep, soften your shoulders, and keep loving through the messy middle. I'm Steph, your Magnetic Mama. See you next time.